Most women are told that staying safe comes down to two things, either being able to fight or carrying a weapon. And I've thought a lot about this because of my time in the military and just this kind of moving into the prepping space. And I've come to realize that I don't think either of those are the most important things for you as a female who is getting into prepping. Today, we're talking about safety, specifically what I think helps keep women safe in emergency situations. And I am excited to dive into this because I think there are going to be some takeaways here that maybe surprise you a little bit. Welcome back to PrepHERedness, where we talk about all things prepping and self-sufficiency. My name is Laura. If we haven't met before, I've been on this prepping journey just a little over 6 years, and I am passionate about encouraging other women to get into this, what is clearly a very male-dominated space. And so I'm super excited about today's topic because I think when we move into prepping space and when we hear about safety, we see a lot of videos and a lot of training about learning how to fight, whether that is Taekwondo or, I don't know, karate or Krav Maga or something like that. We see videos that teach us how to fight and do self-defense, and then we see videos that teach us how to shoot. Now, let me be very clear. I think both of those skills are important, and I think that they give you a sense of personal control, that they give you a sense of kind of safety and this idea that, hey, worst case scenario, when things come down to it, I know that I can protect myself. So I don't want to say don't do those things, but I think there are things that we can do way before we ever have to get to the point where we need to fight our way or shoot our way out of a situation. So the first thing that you want to do is just think about situational awareness. This is one of those things that I think we have gotten away from as a society because we are always looking at our phones. We are always engrossed in whatever it is that we are doing, and we forget to pay attention to our surroundings. I am shocked by the number of women in particular who will go into places like parking garages or just busy areas and have no idea who is around them or what is going on. And I will tell you that I still struggle with that sometimes, right? It's easy to be in our own heads. It's easy to be on our phones. It's easy to be listening to something and just forget that we need to know what is going on around us. But having situational awareness is honestly the foundation for keeping yourself safe in any situation, whether that is just an emergency that happens day to day or a crisis scenario. Think about situational awareness in situations like leaving Target and walking to your car or pumping gas at night, right? Knowing who is around you can give you a lot of indicators about whether the situation you are in is safe or not safe. And again, we as women tend to not want to hurt people's feelings. We tend to kind of, discount our emotions, our gut. And what I would just encourage you is having that situational awareness and really listening to that little voice inside of you that maybe is saying, hey, this doesn't feel quite right. Like, that is an important voice. And I think we need to tap into that as women. I think naturally we know when things aren't quite right, but we don't want to offend people. We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. We don't want to make it awkward. And so sometimes we ignore that voice. And when we ignore that voice, that is often when we get into situations that put us at risk, right? And so I'm just going to challenge you to really be kind of conscious of what that little voice inside is telling you. Listen to it. Be ready to respond when it says, hey, this maybe isn't the best option for you right now. Some simple habits to do just to improve your situational is obviously first, just heads up, eyes up, right? Again, we are so used to just walking around looking at our telephone screens that sometimes we just forget to look around. And honestly, just knowing what is going on in your periphery, knowing what is going on in front of you, glancing backwards every once in a while, all of those things can give you a lot more situational awareness so that you can know when something is maybe going sideways before it ever gets to a point where someone is next to you or causing drama. The second thing is, if you are going to wear earbuds, which again, I do sometimes when I'm running or when I'm doing things, always only keep one in. Make sure that you can still hear what's going on around you. That could be stuff like emergency vehicles. It could be just conversations that are happening. It could be cars coming and going. Always having the ability to at least hear out of one ear is incredibly important, again, just to maintain that situational awareness about what is going on. And then the third one is just literally checking in with yourself mentally, like who's around, what are they doing, is everyone look good to me, right? And just getting into that habit, reframing it. I don't want to make you suspicious of everyone, and I don't want to make you paranoid about all the places that you go. But again, we want to kind of know what's going around us so that we can prevent things from escalating, right? And so just getting in the habit of asking yourself that question. When you get ready to unlock your car and get out, like glance around before you open the door. Is there anybody coming up next to you? Is there a weird car parked next to you, right? Knowing what is happening in your immediate area is going to give you a lot of ability to, again, defend, deter, run away, etc. And so we want to make sure that we're asking ourselves those questions. And it is something that you have to train yourself to do. It doesn't come naturally, I don't think. I think we have to be conscious of it. I'll tell you, when I deployed, I got in the habit of looking and paying attention to the things that were around me because I was in a high threat area, not really only outside the wire, but sometimes inside the wire, if we're being really honest. And so just knowing what was going on around me was super important, and knowing where people were like mattered to me, and knowing kind of what my situation was important. And I got a little bit better about kind of checking the things that were going on. And so I would just encourage you to get into that habit. We've touched on this a little bit, but the second thing is just trusting those instincts and those boundaries that you have. If someone gets in your personal space and it makes you uncomfortable, back up. Say, excuse me, do you mind stepping back? Like, again, I think as women, a lot of times we shy away from that awkwardness because we're like, oh, they probably don't mean anything. It's okay. But keeping that physical separation is important when you were talking about personal security. And so being willing to, again, to listen to that little voice that says, not quite right. Make sure that you're paying attention to that. That may mean getting off of an elevator when you first get on. Just pretend that you forgot something in your room or out in your car, right? There's ways to do it so that it doesn't feel awkward. It could be like, oh, I forgot, and then just turn around and walk out if you are getting into an elevator or a space that feels constricted, that isn't safe. It may mean just getting back into your car. Like maybe you get ready to pull into a gas station and you get ready to get out and you look around and all of a sudden you're like, you know what? This isn't the best place for me to stop. Let me get back on the highway and keep driving. Just be willing to get back in your car and drive off. Again, you're never going to see these people again. You don't really have to worry about it. Just making sure that you are being aware of what is going on. And then the last one is just being able to end a conversation or saying no when something doesn't feel good. Again, we are taught to be polite. We're taught to be friendly, especially as women. There's a social pressure. I don't want to be a right? So, but what we don't want to do is really step into that space where we're allowing people to move into our physical space or our mental space where we don't really want them. And so having those boundaries is super important, and learning to be assertive enough to say, hey, not comfortable here, or walking away will serve you well in keeping you safe in scenarios. And again, I know this isn't just emergency related. This is more just your personal safety, but all of those things matter. All right. The third one is really where we're going to get more into this prepping piece. And that is just taking a realistic view of what self-defense means for you. So again, in the prepping community, we talk a lot about shooting and we talk about fighting, and all of those things are, again, valid tools that we can use. But as women, you probably don't necessarily want to get that far, because here is the realistic thing that we know. Skills degrade under stress and pressure. Even police officers and military members who are very highly trained to shoot and to be in high stress environments, their accuracy goes down in those, oh my gosh, life-threatening scenarios. It takes way more shots. They say that if you can shoot in a 3-inch, circle normally in an emergency, you're probably shooting here. Now, most of us would argue, well, that's still good enough to get the job done, and maybe it is, but just recognize that in times of stress, your skills are going to degrade. I will also say, when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, I am all about making women strong and having us compete, but I'm going to go back to my deployment days. I had the opportunity to deploy with the special operations community, and those guys are trained in hand-to-hand combat, obviously, because it is important for their job. They allowed anyone who was deployed with them to take the training with them so they could learn how to fight. And I thought, won't that be fun? Like, I'm gonna be tough. I was a lot younger and probably not quite as smart as I am today, and I thought, I want to go learn how to do combatives. That's what they called it. And I started the training, and what I realized is that even though I am relatively strong for a female, I am in good shape, especially back then I was, like, I could not compete with the guys who outweighed me by 50 pounds, 75 pounds, in some cases close to 100 pounds, or who trained for that most of their lives. They also just had skills and techniques that were going to take me years to learn. And I realized very quickly that hand-to-hand combat is not something I ever want to experience. So while having those skills is interesting and useful, really all it did was make me realize I never want to get to that point. And so being realistic about that is super important. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't take a self-defense class. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't learn maybe some martial arts or something like that. It just means be realistic about how that fits into your overall preparedness plan for how you are going to keep yourself safe and your family safe. And then the fourth thing we just want to think about are tools that help us create space. So again, time and space are your friends when you are thinking about personal security, when you are thinking about safety. The longer you have to react to a situation, the better choices you're going to be able to make, and the more easily you're going to be able to see kind of what is going on. That leads me directly to pepper spray, which I think often is an overlooked tool, particularly for women. This is a pepper spray made by Palm Industries. It is a new product that I just found. Super awesome. They have larger canisters for home use. They have small canisters for vehicle use or personal use. They have some with keychains on them so that you can take them with you on your keys. The reason I like pepper spray is because in theory, it allows you to shoot the bad guy and create space so that you have time to get away. That might mean getting back in your car. That might mean getting inside a building. That might just mean screaming for help, but gives you the ability to respond quickly, create space, hopefully deter anyone who thinks that you are an easy mark, and it allows you to keep going. So consider something like pepper spray in addition to potentially concealed carry. I do conceal carry, right? So I almost always have a firearm with me, whether that's in my vehicle or on my person, and I am a proponent of concealed carry. But again, I don't want to go to that as my first option. A lethal option is never probably our best first line of defense, right? Both from just a moral perspective, an emotional perspective. Again, skills degrade under pressure. I would rather aim at someone with spray that can go in a lot of different directions than having to shoot and make sure that I am really hitting my target. Again, anything you can do to create space. I also love emergency whistles for this. Having one in your vehicle, again, having one on a pack. I keep one in my purse. I think I mentioned this in my other video, but I love Fox 40 whistles because they are what I used when I was a lifeguard. They're super loud. They are very lightweight. They're plastic. You basically can't break them. And what I like about these is, again, they're just really loud. Sometimes just making noise and being obnoxious is going to give you the chance for someone to decide that you are not a good choice for an attack, for anything that could happen to you. And so making sure that you have some of those things available is, again, incredibly important. So you may be asking yourself, that's great, Laura, but how on earth does this fit into prepping? Well, I'm glad you asked, because in prepping, a lot of what we are talking about is securing our future, right? It is taking care of the unknowns. There's taking care of the things that could cause us problems, whether that is planning for a power outage, planning for water not running out of our faucets, whether it is planning for something that maybe is an attack on us, right? It is part of prepping because it is that security line of effort that we talk about. A lot of times, again, when we talk prepping security, we're talking about how do we make our houses a little bit more hardened. If you watched last week's video, you know I talk a little bit about how to have like maybe door alarms or things like that that are going to help you have early warning if someone's coming. Maybe that's a driveway alarm. Maybe that's just lights that come on. Maybe that's Ring cameras, right? All of those things are part of your security, but the final layer, right? You think about security in Ring. So you have your outside perimeter. That's your things like your Ring cameras, your floodlights, your doorbell alarms, and then you work your way in, right? You have your doors, you have your alarms inside your house. Hopefully, maybe you have a dog. That's your internal. But at some point, your circle gets really small and it gets right around you. And that's why I think talking about self-defense in terms of just situational awareness and being in the mindset of keeping ourselves safe 100% flows into this prepping line of security. So that's how it fits with prepping. If you enjoyed this video and you found it useful and you're one of my female listeners or watchers, I would love for you to go check out my EDC video that I have that is all about what I carry day to day. Until next time, let's be prepared, not scared.